Usman Nurmagomedov fought Paul Hughes at PFL for his Bellator title, and the fight went to a decision, where two of the judges scored it 48-46 for Usman. One of the judges scored it 47-47, a draw because there was a point deduction in the third round, due to Usman landing his third low blow in the fight. And what a 48-46 scorecard means when there's a point deduction is that the judges gave Usman 4 out of the 5 rounds. They had him winning almost the entire fight. Just gave the third round to Paul Hughes, which is interesting. We can all agree that Usman won the first round. He was fluttering the activity with his kicks. He was the main fighter throwing anything in that round. He was just spamming kicks constantly, but not a big round, right? Nothing really big landed there from either fighter. The third round went to Paul Hughes. So we'll look at round 2. We'll look at round 5. And if we have to, we might even look at round 4, because there are some people who agree with the judges that Usman won all 4 of those rounds. So the scoring criteria is going to be based off of impact, which is also synonymous with damage, according to their definition. And effective grappling is also going to be a component in the 4th and 5th rounds, because Usman did get some takedowns, but didn't really do a whole lot with them. But damage is the biggest thing in this fight. And in order to be the most accurate, let's categorize every single strike in accordance to damage: light, medium, and heavy. The light strikes aren't really going to win rounds, but we'll try to get every single strike. The medium and heavy are the main ones that are going to win these rounds. So let's start with the second round. We start the second round, and right away, Paul Hughes lands a big jab, snapping Usman's head back. First strike of the second round is a medium, but Usman also grazes his own jab off of the top of the side of the head of Hughes. Then Usman starts throwing more kicks. He throws an inside leg kick, then 2 side kicks to the body. The second one slightly pushes Hughes back, but not much. He lands 2 more leg kicks, one on the inside, one on the outside, all light strikes. But then Hughes hops forward with a switch front kick, hits the hip of Usman, and he knocks Usman to the ground with the kick, which is impactful. Now, this is not the most damaging shot in a way where he's hurting Usman with the kick, but it did get a big reaction out of Usman. Not enough to be a heavy strike, but we'll count this as a medium. Usman lands 2 light jabs and a grazing leg kick. Then he eventually follows up with a side kick to the body, which doesn't get near the same reaction as Paul Hughes' front kick. And if that's a medium, that means Usman's gonna have to be a light, as the 2 kicks are supposed to have a similar reaction from the result of the kick. Then they start exchanging leg kicks with each other. Hughes lands 1, Usman lands 2. Then as Hughes is trying to enter, he slaps the ribs of Usman. Not going to be a big strike at all, but it is a strike that landed. Then another inside leg kick from Usman, and Hughes uses that as a step to engage Usman with his punches. He throws a left hook, misses with the fist, but it does collide with his arm, which is also going to count as a strike. You could knock an opponent down with this. You could even knock him out with a shot like that. Even though he didn't mean to hit him with the arm, it did create impact, therefore will count as a light strike. Then Hughes lands a body knee in the clinch. This is in between a light and medium. Usman then slaps the side of the head of Hughes. This is where the awkward exchange between the two in the clinch happens. And as both fighters are losing balance, it looks like Usman may have thrown an uppercut, but tried to also turn that into a single collar tie, but hits Hughes with his arm, and then drives a knee into the body against the fence. This is a bigger knee than the one Hughes landed, a medium strike for Usman. Now, as Usman's holding him in the tie plum, Paul Hughes actually hits himself. He punches the side of his own head with a left hand. Do we count that as a strike? No, but it is pretty funny. He was throwing out punches from the clinch, trying to land a flurry, and he lands a right hook to the jaw. Left hand grazes the side of the head, then starts ripping body shots, lands 3 of them, one of them being a medium strike. The second body shot could have been a medium strike, but it looked like he kind of grazed the shot. The third shot was a clean punch to the liver. While his back is to the fence, Usman lands 2 knees to the body. First one's a light, second one's a medium, and Hughes grazes a left hand to the chin as Usman's moving his head. Then Usman unloads with 5 body shots, 2 punches, which weren't the most powerful, but 3 knees. One of the knees were light, 2 of them were medium. He was driving those knees into the body, and then this elbow missed, in case anybody thinks it landed. Then off the disengagement, both guys are throwing hooks at each other. Now it's hard to tell if Hughes' punch landed or missed, because Usman was moving his head with the punch, and it could have landed at the end of the punch, but it's hard to tell. Usman's punch 100% landed, that's clear, but Hughes could have just grazed him at the very end of it. To me, it looked like it missed, but we'll come back to the punch if it made a difference in the round. Then a big leg kick from Usman lands, almost gets checked, but you see the blowback of the kick, knocking Hughes into the opposite stance. Then this leg kick, Hughes checked. Hughes throws a body jab, but lands with his forearm to the head of Usman as Usman's going for a takedown. Then in the clinch, Paul Hughes throws a knee. Now it's hard to tell if it lands to the body, but we'll give it the benefit of the doubt that it landed toward the chest area. Then Hughes throws 4 punches in the clinch, 2 of them graze, and then 2 body shots land clean. Big body shots from Paul Hughes. Jab from Usman, returned by a light kick from Hughes, and this knocks back Usman to the opposite stance. Medium strike for Hughes. Then a clean straight right from Usman lands, and they both exchange. Hughes lands an inside leg kick, as Usman lands a 2-punch combination. Left hook, light punch, but then a right straight, the biggest punch of the round so far. Clean to the jaw, rotates Hughes' head, and it looks like Hughes grazed a left hook after the punch. Hughes pushes at the right leg of Usman, Usman with a front kick. Then Usman returns with a front kick to the body. Neither kick really doing much. Hughes checks the leg kick, lands at the very end of the body jab, then counters Usman with the knee to the chest as Usman's trying to land a right straight. Nearly landed to the chin. Usman lands 2 kicks, an inside leg kick and then a body kick. Both fighters then graze a jab on each other, but none of these shots really doing anything much. Not going to win them the round. Leg kick from Hughes. Hard to tell if this body kick lands, but we'll come back to it if it makes a difference in the round. Usman grazes the leg kick, then he grazes a left straight, as Hughes is slipping on the outside of it, and Hughes counters him with 2 punches to the body. Left hand didn't have much steam on it, but the right hand landed on the hip. Left hook from Hughes hits with the arm. Usman grazes a body knee as it also gets partially blocked by the arm of Hughes. Here it is, finally another big strike. Paul Hughes lands a left hook to the jaw, rotating Usman's head, a medium strike for Hughes. Usman grazes with a knee to the chin and pulls it away right when it creates contact. Hughes lands a punch to the body from distance. It's a decent shot that falls with a left hook to the ribs, making Usman move away. Much better jab from Usman. This time, instead of Hughes just eating it like a fly hitting a windshield, this jab snaps his head back. Winging counter right hook from Usman as Hughes counters him with a right uppercut to the body, grazing the punch. Nearly landed flush. Grazing left hook from Hughes hits like almost to the back of the head, but grazes to the side of the head of Usman. Body jab from Hughes gets partially blocked. Leg kick from Hughes, countered by a right straight from Usman at the end of the punch, then followed by a kick to the hip, then a left hook right behind the guard, and a right overhand that swings downward but hits kind of with the forearm as Hughes is trying to slip his head on the inside of the punch. Left hook to the body from Hughes, but he didn't put a lot of power into it as Usman was moving away. He was using it kind of like a setup for his right hand. Grazing right hand from Usman, inside leg kick, then he grazes a jab as he's moving away. Hughes grazes a right hook to the body. Hughes lands a right hook to the leg, almost like Benson Henderson style. A flush right straight from Usman, and Hughes counters him with a right hook to the body, ending the second round. So as you can see, there was a lot of grazing shots, not big shots landing, but it's the medium shots that are going to make the difference here. And after tallying up all the damage, it's very close. It's nearly an even fight. This round could go either way. Based on the damage, it's way too close to call, so if we go to aggression, who is the more effective aggressor in the round? It was no doubt Paul Hughes. Usman's moving around the cage more. Paul Hughes is going forward more and throwing shots and landing shots as the aggressor, so arguably it could go to either fighter, but I'm going to give it to Paul Hughes very slightly. Any disagreeers that think Usman won the second round, I can agree with them as well, but I'm giving Paul Hughes for effective aggressiveness, and he was slightly more damaging in the round if we don't go to effective aggressiveness. So second round of Paul Hughes. And then we go to the fourth round, and Usman lands a body kick, kind of. Looks like it may have hit the chest. Check leg kick by Hughes. Inside leg kick lands from Usman. Then outside leg kick, grazing jab from Hughes. Then a much better jab from Usman. Slightly turns Hughes' head. Another inside leg kick. This punch from Hughes does not land. His punch gets blocked and Usman slips on the outside of it. Then a big inside leg kick from Paul Hughes, knocking Usman to the opposite stance. Inside leg kick from Usman. Then a decent jab from Usman lands, knocking back Paul Hughes. Grazing body jab from Paul Hughes. It's hard to tell if this body jab lands from Usman, but he gets hit by this big counter left hook from Paul Hughes. He didn't throw it that hard, but it does get a big reaction out of Usman. You can see how his head turns, moving away from the punch awkwardly. He was going to take off that angle from the body jab, but that left hook definitely landed big. It kind of reminded me of one of Sugar Ray Robinson's knockouts in boxing. Not a shot that looks like you throw it that hard, but can deliver with a lot of power. Inside leg kick from Usman. Hard to tell if this jab landed or he was able to get away from the punch by like a millimeter. Regardless, it's not really going to make much of a difference in the round. Now, it looks like Usman's reaching for the single leg. He's faking a takedown, but he could have also thrown a jab to the leg, Benson Henderson style, but it looks more like he's reaching to grab the leg. Grazing jab to the head from Usman. Darting right straight from Usman lands to the jaw. Counter right uppercut from Hughes. Big shot from Paul Hughes, thwarting the takedown and causing Usman to exit, as Usman grazes a left haymaker to the side of the head of Hughes. And Hughes also kind of grazes the chest with a left hook. Both punches very light. Inside leg kick from Usman. Right overhand grazes from Hughes. He threw the punch very hard, but doesn't really get much of a reaction, and it just grazes. Jab from Usman. Light leg kick from Hughes, as the right straight from Usman misses. Leg kick from Usman. Left straight from Usman grazes, as Hughes' punch missed. And then finally, a big shot lands here. After all of these graze strikes, Hughes makes it count with a big right uppercut to the jaw. Massive shot from Paul Hughes. In the pocket, short right uppercut, the biggest punch in the round. Usman lands with his forearm and a left haymaker, then he lands a jab. Big inside leg kick from Usman, knocking him into the parallel stance. Jab from Usman. This right overhand from Hughes missed, as Usman was slipping the punch. Body jab from Hughes, and then he misses the right hand. In real time, it looked like the punch may have landed by the way that Usman moved his head, but as you can see, the punch never lands. Hits his shoulder and goes right behind his head. And Usman ducks to his right, so it made it look like he may have gotten hit by the punch. Now, Hughes looked like he may have just been pushing Usman's head, but it could also be counted as a left uppercut. He really didn't throw much power into this. And then Usman lands a light elbow while he was pushing with his forearm, so both of these are very light strikes. Jab from Usman, right straight landing at the end of the punch as Hughes is moving away. Check leg kick from Hughes, both guys landing at the end of their punches. Usman lands a jab as Hughes lands a push kick to the hip again. Right straight grazes from Usman, and that's where the head clash was. Hughes lands a left hook that gets partially blocked. Graze jab from Usman, another jab lands to the top of the forehead. Then they get into an exchange. Hughes lands a body jab, comes up top with the left hook. Both punches are set up his entry for the right uppercut, but before he misses with the right uppercut, Usman lands with the forearm of his left haymaker. Then leg kick from Hughes, which gets countered by the takedown of Usman. And on the ground, Usman lands 14 strikes, Hughes lands 33. One of Paul Hughes was a medium strike off of his back. He landed a flush elbow, really good strike, and Usman landed 2 elbows of his own, both medium strikes, and that ends the 4th round. By tallying up all the damage, it's a very, very close round, nearly even again. Paul Hughes had 4 more light, 1 more medium, landed 5 more total strikes, which is not much. Usman did get the takedown, and he landed shots while on top, which counts as effective grappling. The thing though is, Paul Hughes landing shots off of his back, which also can count as effective grappling, but not as much as getting a takedown and then landing ground and pound after. So if effective striking and effective grappling are way too close to call, we have to go to effective aggressiveness again, and that's Paul Hughes once more. Paul Hughes was the aggressor for more of this round than he was even in the 2nd round. The only thing is, Usman did get a takedown slightly more than a minute left of the fight, which I guess could go to aggressiveness for him, but the thing is, while on the ground, Hughes was throwing a lot more shots, striking a lot more than Usman Nurmagomedov was. So even on the ground, you could also say Paul Hughes was the aggressor. So I do think Paul Hughes wins the 4th round, but again, it's so close. Anyone who disagrees, I can see it as well, but I think the better argument here is for Paul Hughes to win this round. Based off the fact that he landed more strikes, he had 1 more medium strike, he was the aggressor in the round for more of the round than Usman was. Usman got a takedown, but for like 2 to 3 minutes of the round, Hughes was the aggressor. And even on the ground, Hughes is throwing more strikes than Usman was. So I would give Paul Hughes the 4th round as well. Very, very slightly. These are extremely close rounds. Like, this is not like Paul Hughes is obviously just the better fighter. These guys are nearly even in skill level. And honestly, Usman taking the fight to the ground actually kind of hurt him in that round because Hughes wasn't landing as many shots. Before the takedown, Usman was way ahead of Hughes in strikes. But because he took him down, it allowed Hughes to rack up over 30 strikes. I think if Usman kept the round standing, it would make more sense for him to win the round if he just kept doing what he was doing. Then we go to the 5th round, and Hughes starts it off with a big jab that snaps Usman's head back. Usman then counters him with an inside leg kick. They both start exchanging jabs with each other, and then Usman grazes an inside leg kick. It's hard to tell if this left hook lands. You can see the guard gets pushed in, but also Usman moves his head to the left, so maybe the punch grazed him, but it's hard to really tell. We'll come back to it if it makes a difference in the round. Then Usman lands 2 leg kicks, one inside and one outside, lands a jab at the end of the punch. Then they both exchange jabs on each other. Hughes' jab is definitely more powerful though. Hughes lands a right straight at the end of the punch. Doesn't seem to get like a big reaction out of Usman. He overthrows the left hook, which allows Usman to counter him with a takedown, keeping him on the fence. Then on the ground, Usman lands 15 strikes. 13 of those were knees to the leg, knees to the thigh, stuff like that. 2 of them were knees to the head when Paul Hughes trying to make his way back up to the feet. Hughes gets back up to his feet, but taken to the ground by Usman, with Usman doing nothing with the takedown. Hughes then reverses Usman with the classic switch, which crazy, it worked on Islam. It works now on Usman Nurmagomedov. The only guy in that camp it has not worked on was Khabib. Dustin was successful at that against Islam. Paul Hughes successful at that against Usman, but Dustin could not do it to Khabib. It really shows you how much better of a grappler Khabib is than everybody else there. And as Usman was getting up, Hughes lands a knee to the body, but not completely flush. I'll say it's like in between a medium and a light strike. They both exchange jabs on each other. Hughes lands a body jab. Usman lands a jab to the face. Hard to see if this overhand actually lands. On the way down as Usman is ducking his head. Knee to the body from Usman, but then Hughes starts unloading punches. Lands a short uppercut to the head, then whips a left hook to the body. Big shot from Paul Hughes. Hits him with another left, but this time with the forearm. Light strike. As Usman counters him with a right haymaker, landing with the forearm on the back of the head of Paul Hughes. And Hughes is turning his head away from the punch. That's why he got hit to the back of the head. Then Hughes unloads with a 5-punch combination. Starts with a jab to the chest, right uppercut to the body, short left uppercut to the body, another right hook to the body, left hook up top that grazes, then a big uppercut to the chin, ending the combo with a right overhand to the jaw. The last 2 punches being the biggest there. A knee to the body from Usman, not much power thrown with it, not much of a reaction. Then another whipping left hook to the body. Good shot from Paul Hughes, countered by Usman's jab straight. Massive shot landed by Usman, man. Gets a big reaction out of Hughes. Now it looks like the knee may have missed. The commentators also mentioned it as well. Would have been devastating if he actually landed that shot though. Jab from Usman, countered by another right uppercut to the body from Hughes, that followed by a left hook to the ribs as Usman's going for the takedown. They both exchanged jabs, 2 from Usman and 2 from Hughes. There was one jab from Hughes that seemed to be more powerful than the others, and as Usman's trying to take an angle, he moves into the left hook that rotates his head. Not the most powerful punch thrown, but he did move into the punch, increasing the impact of the blow. Then a powerful jab from Paul Hughes, square to the face of Usman, snaps his head back. Jab from Usman, and then Hughes lands another big shot, straight right, through the jaw. Big shot for Paul Hughes. Right hand to the body, but then he follows up with a right overhand to the jaw, and a left hook behind the ear. Usman went for a takedown, but gets reversed by Paul Hughes, hitting another switch. Habib must be so mad. He's like, how is he hitting the switch on you like this? Never worked on Habib. Hughes lands 2 hooks, while it looks like Usman started to talk to Habib, and then this exchange was so close. Paul Hughes almost scored a knockout. Usman throws a labored right straight forward, chin in the air, no defense. Hughes was able to slip the punch and then threw a right hook, then nearly lands flush. But Usman ends the round with a left haymaker, landing with the forearm. Really no reaction out of Paul Hughes. Now tallying up all the damage here, it's obviously Paul Hughes. Way more damage on his side. Usman landed 14 more light. Hughes landed 7 more medium, over tripling the medium strikes of Usman. They both landed 1 heavy. I would say Usman's punch was probably more powerful, but both of those shots were the biggest shots of the round by far. Usman landed 7 more total strikes, but all those medium is just way too much, man. And if you want to equal out the damage, which I don't think you do, but even at that, the aggressor was again Paul Hughes. 5th round was clearly a round for Paul Hughes. So did the judges get this correct? They did not. Very close though, right? This is not like a one-sided domination. This is not anything like that. I do think it's a robbery with the way the judges scored the fight. They gave Usman 4 rounds. That is insane. 5th round was clearly Paul Hughes. 2nd and 4th arguably can also go to him. 3rd round is obviously his round. At best for Usman, this was a draw because of the point deduction, right? If he didn't land the low blow, I don't think anybody would say like this is a robbery or anything like that. But because of the point deduction, there's no way Usman won this fight. It's at best in Usman's favor a draw, but a better argument is Paul Hughes winning the fight. In fact, you can argue he won 4 rounds instead of Usman. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, there's going to be disagreeers, and I can see it for the 2nd and 4th rounds going to Usman. I don't have like a hard stance on that. I have a hard stance on Hughes winning the 5th round though. 2nd and 4th, I can see either fighter winning those. But I do think it's a better argument that Paul Hughes won those rounds as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. If you guys did, make sure to give the video a like, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.